Newton, do you know what is out there in the great outdoors? Girls, with brassieres and legs. Do you have working knowledge of girls? No, but I read about them. Well, then perhaps I can furnish you with some schematic drawings.
All right, cool. Tone it down.
I mean, dude, if ever you can take a swing for the fence, I think this
Yeah.
is the one. I'm Liam, he's Rob, and welcome to the Hey Guys podcast. This week, we are looking back at 1986's Short Circuit, a movie that has become as well known for Fisher Stevens' brown face as it has for its utterly charming robotic lead. You'd think going back to it, Fisher Stevens' portrayal as a distinctly Indian Ben might be the worst thing about this movie, but honestly, somehow, the usually very charming Steve Guttenberg somehow feels even more miscast as the supposed genius Newton Crosby. Then there is Ally Sheedy as Stephanie. Honestly, I have no idea what is going on there. I don't even think it's Sheedy's fault, to be honest, but it's a strange character to say the least. Needless to say, John Badham's Short Circuit proves the proverbial mixed bag of charming 80s sci-fi caper and utterly baffling casting choices. And honestly, after rewatching it for the first time in, I think it's honestly 30 odd years, I really am none the wiser as to whether this movie is actually any good. Initially, I want to put this in the same kind of category as Red Dawn, kind of charming, but slightly rubbish. Is that unfair, or are we kind of on the same page
No,
here?
no. I mean, you know me. I'm a big fan of Red Dawn. Uh,
No. And I'm
it,
not saying I dislike this, but like you watch Red Dawn and you're fully aware that a lot of what you like about it is based on nostalgia. It's kind of rubbish, I think it's fair
okay,
to
yeah,
say.
yeah. Okay.
And the same way this is, but it is charming.
It is charming. It's funny how you say a lot of these were miscast when you didn't mention Schroeder, who is probably the worst cast in this film. G.W. Bailey is Schroeder, I
Well,
think.
he's just playing the exact same character
Yeah,
he plays in Police Academy. The
but he
exact same character.
But that's the problem. He can't play the exact same character because in Police Academy, he's a bumbling idiot. He's meant to be the head of, I don't know, a private military force. Like, what is the army doing with Nova Corps or Nova, who are
Mhm.
just I don't know, are they an arms manufacturer? Are they a robotics company? Look?
It's
Why do they
all
have
very
so
strange.
much power, but yet they have to hobnob with generals? Like, it's very odd. What I
Yeah,
wanted to
they've got
say,
a lot, like you said, like, and some of their vehicles, it's borderline GI Joe stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
weird. Like everyone's got an assault rifle, and they go out to get like. I don't even understand why they're so keen on blowing up Number Five. I find the whole kind of concept of it quite bizarre. And to
yeah.
your point, I know what you mean. Like when you see him on screen, it makes sense because you're like, oh well, he's just playing his character from Police Academy. But in this, it's never quite clear if he's supposed to be this bumbling idiot a la Police Academy, or if we're supposed to take him serious as a threat. And yeah, it doesn't really work.
No, and hard on he has for destroying something that I mean, if the word sentient robot comes around, your
Yeah.
first instinct should not be destroy the thing. It should be like study it. Like,
Everyone is so chill about the sudden arrival of AI, self-consciousness, and genuine intelligence. And like again, the supposedly smart Newton, played by Steve Guttenberg, he is just so like he's just not having it, despite tons and tons of proof to the contrary. This clearly it's all in his face. This robot is clearly sentient, very intelligent. He's just like, nah, I'm not having it. We're just gonna have to take him back and just, destroy him basically. Everybody wants to destroy him. It's like he's clearly intelligent. It's the greatest breakthrough in human history, and everyone's just like, no, let's just blow this motherfucker up. It's bonkers.
like you, it's been about 30 years since I've seen this film. To the point where in my head I recast Frank. To
Mhm,
me, Frank was the brother from Youngblood,
mhm,
which it
mhm, mhm,
wasn't the brother, it was Brian McNamara. But my legacy with this film is the fact that I have not ruined it,
mhm,
but I guess I've broken the glass for a few people. I believe you being one of them,
mhm.
where Dave was definitely one of them, where I let them know that Ben was played by a white guy. Like
Well, that
when
right.
we grew up,
Yeah.
that's how we perceived, I guess, Indian.
Mhm.
So
Well, honestly, right, I am convinced if you didn't know who Fisher Stevens was, and you watch this movie, certainly in the 80s, but I'd say even now, you would just think that's an Indian dude. And I know we're not supposed to say this, and obviously, it would be unacceptable if you were casting the character in 2026. And to be honest, even in 1986, they said, the director, Brian Badham, is that his name? Jesus Christ, I forgot his name. John Badham, I do apologize. And Fisher Stevens both said this wouldn't have happened if they had kind of written the character to be Indian. If the character had been written in the script to be Indian, they said they would have hired an Indian, but they basically changed the character. He was initially written as American, but because of Bronson Pinchot's famous performance as Serge in Beverly Hills Cop, they saw that and went, "Oh, we want a bit of that. We want a bit of culture class, add a bit of comedy to this. Let's make him Indian." And nobody thought, well, it's like, well, this guy's white and Jewish. It was the 80s. They just let it go. And beyond the fact that his only character trait is that he misquotes idioms, and honestly, it's bizarre. I think he misquotes genuinely, I think about 42 idioms. That's his whole character traits, other than being Indian. I think for the most part, Fisher Stevens is actually quite good as playing an Indian, and is quite convincing. He is so much more convincing as an Indian that Steve Guttenberg is as I don't know, a naive genius, supposedly. He is, I mean, he's just doing Steve Guttenberg. And as I said, I like Steve Guttenberg. I like him in Cocoon. I like him in Three Men and a Baby. Everyone loves him in Police Academy. Within moments of this starting, of course, you see Fisher Stevens, you go, oh, he looks quite Indian. Then he starts talking, you're like, oh, okay, it's a bit of a swing. But then you kind of settle into it. I never settled into Steve Guttenberg in this film. Never, ever bought him as a character.
I'm not too sure, like, why you're so thing with Steve Guttenberg.
I think he's so. Oh, sorry, technical issue there, or more specifically, Rob's mum was calling on his mobile because he had forgotten to book a taxi, but that's all sorted now. So back to the movie podcast. So yeah, I know it sounds like I've got a bee in my bonnet, but I don't think Matthew Broderick has chemistry with Ally Sheedy. I don't think he has chemistry towards the end of the film with.
Wait, hang on. Sorry, I know I derailed us, but you just said Matthew Broderick.
No, sorry. Watching? Sorry, my apologies. That's my wishful thinking. So basically, I think this film, if you replace Steve Guttenberg with Matthew Broderick, the direct, was it? God, John Burdon, like he directed a movie with him in it, didn't he? It was it War Games or the other one?
Was it War Games?
It was War Games. Yeah, he directed War Games, and I just buy him as that kind of naive, nerdy but charming character in a way that I just don't buy Steve Guttenberg. Like Ally Sheedy. Well, maybe in like 86. No, I actually think he should maybe be a bit younger. Anyway, besides the point.
War Games is 83. He was 17. He's too young to.
What in 86? You think he's too young? When this is made,
I would have thought he was. I think because 85 was Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So but I think he's too young to be playing this technical genius who's been given power to create these death.
Maybe so, but I'm it's more as a performance and the kind of tone he brings to the character. And it's similarly, you might actually think she's too young as well. But it's like I would place Ally Sheedy with Leah Thompson. But
I like Ally Sheedy.
No.
I like Guttenberg. I like Guttenberg in this.
I think he's terrible. Every time he tries to act intelligent, I just don't fucking buy him as someone who's intelligent. I just don't buy it.
They just run programs. I think.
My god! I just can't be having it. Right. In fairness to Ally Sheedy, it's not her fault because I think she's relatively charming in this film. I think her character is one of the most insanely written characters I've ever seen in a movie of this ilk.
Oh, she is
I don't know what they were going for.
Like the whole thing of her adopting every animal under the sun, but no explanation as to why. Apparently, she's got a food truck that she never uses.
How's she feeding all these animals? Like, honestly, you see that her boyfriend, Frank, and you're like, wait, why is she with this asshole, Frank? And you're like, oh, yeah, because Stephanie is the fucking worst. She's out of her mind. The way she reacts to me, right, she obviously thinks that number 5 is an alien initially. You know, when he shows up in the van and you've got that great 80s lighting. Like, it makes no sense, the lighting in the van, but you're just like, oh, it's the 80s, so we're just going to go with it. And it, common sense goes out the window. It just looks cool. The way she reacts to the realization that she's talking to an alien is absolutely fucking bananas. Then when she's suddenly, oh, you're just a robot, suddenly completely dismissive of him. Frank comes round, and you're just like, well, he's a psycho, but it suddenly makes sense. But you see a house, for one, it would smell like hot ass in there. There are so many goddamn animals. It's like there's
All
a raccoon,
different as
like,
well. So all with
yeah,
different like habits and things like that. Fucking, you picked up a ferret and put it next to the rabbit. And what the fuck is going on here?
there's a raccoon in there. The
There's a
only thing she might be
three-legged
doing,
dog.
yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I've been to a raccoon cafe. You've got to keep them in separate rooms. I went to one was it in Korea? I think it was. Although bizarrely, that they were doing their own thing.
Sorry,
So
sorry. Then
they were like,
don't go over that. Brush over that. Did you say a raccoon cafe?
Raccoon Cafe is a real thing that exists in Korea. So you go there and you can have a coffee, and there's a room with like a bunch of raccoons. They got tiny little hands with their
Yeah.
thumbs and stuff. They're very cute. But the first thing I saw when I went there, so I'm expecting raccoons. It's called a raccoon cafe, and it's just a capybara in there. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like going into Stephanie's house. It was just mental. It was like, well, we've got raccoons. That's crazy. Let's just throw a bunch of other random shit in here, starting with a capybara, a bunch of cats. They may have had a three-legged dog as well. Needless to say, Stephanie's insane. It's a tough character for her to play. And what makes it even worse is they've given her another terrible haircut. And I'm just like, Ally Sheedy, you look at it in like, honestly, you see her in the Breakfast Club. She's so cute in that, and then you see her in this and St. Elmo's Fire, and you're like, man, why have you got her ice skating uphill with these fucking terrible haircuts? It's just not
I
fair.
love I love it when you get a bee in your bonnet because you said something. I have a joke for it, but you won't stop talking. I go to say that, and now I'm
Very
going to do it
passionate.
anyway.
I'm passionate.
I'm going to do it anyway because I had the joke prime, but it means nothing now because you said about the Raccoon Cafe 15 minutes ago.
Sorry.
Coffee with a side of rabies. Literally, it's
There we go.
terrible. It's terrible. But you need to take a breath, my friend. You
Well, I just I find this movie so strange on so many levels, and the fact that going back to it, I could just hardly remember it. Like my only real memory of it was, well, the thing is, I'm saying it now correctly. Number five, is it the most misquotes movie of all time ever? Because I said it to my wife, I
25
was
is
like,
alive.
yeah, it's not in this film.
No, do you know why? Once again,
It's
sequel.
the sequel. It's just like Eddie Murphy's jacket in Beverly Hills Cop 2. You just think it's in the first movie. It isn't. Everyone says, as soon as I've said we're covering this movie to anyone, they all just go, "Oh, Johnny Five is alive." And I'm watching the film, I'm just like, does he ever actually fucking say this? He doesn't.
I
Even
think
at the very end, he doesn't say it. He
I don't even
references,
think
he says he's Johnny, but he didn't say Johnny Five is alive.
I don't even think it's said in the second one. I think it
Really?
might be a tagline somewhere. What I think
Mm-hmm.
is this is a Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is just convinced that Johnny Five is alive is a thing that's said. So they do it. It's that whole
Luke,
bigger
I'm your
boat.
father thing and stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Luke,
yeah,
I'm your father. Yeah, it's just everyone and Sinbad being in a genie movie that never
That
existed.
that one is the craziest. For those who
Yeah,
don't know, 90% of people are convinced that Sinbad, who is an actor, by the way, he's a comedian from the 90s, who was in Jingle All the Way, most
yeah.
famously, that he was in a movie where he played a genie, and it just doesn't exist. It doesn't. But when I heard it, I was just like, I'm pretty sure that's true. No, it's not. That isn't a thing. Did we mix it with Shazam, maybe, with Shaq?
Was it Kazam?
Oh, Kazam, maybe Shazam
Kazam.
or
Yeah,
Kazam, whatever it was.
yeah.
But that's all I
Kazam.
can think is that we've kind of taken that Shaq movie, and at some point we've added Sinbad and created a separate entity. It's
Yeah.
very strange.
It
Very
is. It
strange.
is very odd. Do you know? As I was rewatching it, and I know
Mhm.
we've mentioned Ben already, and I won't go too much into it. But obviously, as a kid, when you're watching this, and even if
Mhm.
you knew he was played by a Caucasian man,
Mhm.
I never got the subtle jokes that they were taking the piss when they were in the film as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Gutenberg's talking to Ben and says, "Oh, where are you from?" And it's something like Pittsburgh. And they
yeah,
go, "No,
yeah, yeah,
no, your ancestors. Oh, Bakersfield." And
yeah.
then Ali Sheedy as Stephanie is like, "What planet is this guy from?" Like they're just making jokes at the fact that no, this dude's not Indian. He is just.
Yeah, at least they're self-aware kind of thing. And
Well, you have
I,
to be though, don't you? You
I
have
think
to
you
be.
have to be. And as I said, this was much more prevalent in like the 70s, 80s in particular. And if you go back and read the reviews, like nobody had an issue with Fisher Stevens playing an Indian in 1986. It was only in like the early 2000s that it became more of an issue, and it was something that they had to go back and discuss and say, "Oh, looking back on it, it was wrong." Blah blah blah. Nobody had a problem with it. Most people didn't even because Fisher Stevens, unless you like, he wasn't massively famous. Certainly in the UK, we know him from like Oh, what's the one with all the computers? Hackers. The one with the
Hackers, yeah.
computers, hackers. It's like that's what I know him from. And he was in an episode of Friends and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think if I watched this film, I wouldn't be like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's Fisher Stevens playing an Indian. I would just be like, that's an Indian dude. Because maybe it's something about his features. He just looks Indian. And I mean, there are probably Indian people who are just like, dude, the fucking accent's the worst. But when I watch it, I was just like, if I had forgotten about it, I think I would have been okay with it rewatching this. And like I said, he's fine. The important thing, as I said, it's not a Mickey Rooney and Breakfast Tiffany situation. The joke isn't at his expense. I know he, gets the words wrong and stuff, but it's just the culture clash thing.
You're
I
not
don't think the important thing is even when you go back and watch it, there's nothing mean spirited about his
you're
character.
not the only one, Mike. Going into facts here, when this was released in India,
Mhm.
all the Indians thought he was an Indian actor named Javeed Jafferi.
Brilliant.
They
That makes
literally
me feel
thought
bad. That makes me feel a lot better.
they literally like confused him with that actor.
Mhm.
This was due to Javeed being a spitting image of Fisher Stevens with his beard and round eye glasses. Javeed had just had his first release, Mary Jung, in 1985.
That's
And in
awesome.
that film, he sported the round eye glasses and the beard. So when this movie was released in India, many thought that he just acted in a Hollywood movie. It was only after Javeed himself said in interviews that another actor starred in this movie that people finally knew the truth.
Honestly, that makes me feel so much better because when I was obviously you go into this film like it's for a rewatch now. I'm talking about watching this in 2026, and I can't remember anything about it, but I'm just like, well, the elephant in the room is the whole Fisher Stevens brown face thing, and then he came up on screen, and the first thing I thought was like, fuck, he looks Indian, man. He doesn't look like a white dude doing Indian makeup, and then he starts talking. I was just like, okay, it's a swing, but I'm like, he sounds like an Indian to me. Like he genuinely sounds like an Indian. So, all right, it shouldn't have been done, but can we all agree Fisher Stevens kind of knocks out of the park in this film?
Well, to be fair, they thought that as well because
He's tricked India. If he's tricked India, he can trick us.
they did a
I think
whole
it's fair enough.
sequel based around his character.
Yeah, yeah.
So
In the
yeah,
in the movie, Steve Guttenberg isn't in the sequel, and the poster is like him and Johnny Five in like a drain pipe or something like that,
yeah,
coming out of the
yeah,
ground in the
yeah.
city or whatever.
I'm
And sorry, go for it.
I'm a little bit upset with you as well, just a tad, because you mentioned Fisher Stevens, you
Mhm,
mentioned hackers. That's how we in the UK would probably know him.
mhm.
I'm a little bit upset because no, I would know him from two films and
Here
a
we go.
TV show.
Here we go.
My Science Project. It was released the
Yeah,
year
you
before.
can be as angry as you want. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. That's fine.
Yep. Yeah, I think I've shown you the thing.
I think you have in fairness.
It's
Yeah, yeah, but I
Dennis
don't know anything
Hopper.
about it.
Dennis
Yeah.
Hopper playing the science. And come on, mate, from Iggy Cooper. It was Iggy and Spike, the brothers or the cousins from Super Mario Brothers in '92.
Fair play, fair play. No, you've got me on that one. I'll give you that one. I should have mentioned Super Mario Brothers, and in fact, that has escaped me. Maybe because I hate the new Super Mario. Sorry, not the new Super Mario, the Super Mario Brothers live
Yeah,
action movie. That we did that on the podcast. It's worth going back and giving it a listen if you haven't. It's a
and
strange film. It's a strange film, which is very expensive. Which this movie
sorry, just one more.
isn't.
Sorry,
Sorry, go for it.
do you ever remember watching a TV show called Early Edition?
No, no.
No, it was about a guy who would get the paper, but the paper was tomorrow's paper. So obviously you have
Oh,
to
okay, yeah, yeah,
solve
yeah.
the issues. And Fisher Stevens played the best friend who was a bit of a gambler, so tried to use it to bet on the
It sounds
yeah.
like a budget Quantum Leap, basically.
Yeah, it's what I mean. It's one of those things there where you have this power,
Mhm.
but it's always only in your city. Like the daily
Yeah,
newspaper just
yeah.
comes and it's the person next door to you that's having the issue, not the person.
It's
Yeah,
quite interesting. It's an interesting concept. If, say, you went like the HBO route and took it seriously, like
yeah,
how effective could you be in 24 hours? Because you're just like, all right, I can see something terrible's happened, but I'm in fucking, say, Chicago, and this has happened in Manila, and I know if I can get there once, I could potentially save people's lives. And the thing is, I think kind of modern technology, like so many things, like horror and all these other things, it takes the edge off. But then, if you just, how do you contact these people? Although in this film, let's be clear, Ally Sheedy's character, Stephanie, when she suddenly decides, oh, this is a robot, I need to contact the military, she just opens the yellow pages. She just opens the yellow pages. I don't know if they're called yellow pages in America. She opens the phone book that she has at
Yeah.
home and just
They're,
immediately goes, "Oh, there's the number for the robotic military division."
again, yeah, but that's it. Like, what are they? Are they a private company? Like, it's
I
so
have
insane.
no idea, just to
You
be clear. No
you
fucking
can
idea.
you can ring up and get to the big guy as well straight away. You can
Straight
get
away.
to the big guy. Like you,
Yeah,
there's only
Dave Robotics. It's like he's
yeah,
just there listed straight away.
it's absolutely insane. The other thing as well, talking
So
about Stephanie
I just have to
was
ask, while you were talking about the company, just very quickly, what is Newton's relationship to them? Because at first I thought, is he like being kept there and having to work under duress? Because he clearly doesn't want to do
no,
what they're planning for the robots, but he's far too sassy to be under duress. So is he just like, all right, I don't necessarily agree with what you guys are doing, but I'm getting a paycheck, so I just kind of get on with it. All the way through the film, I'm like, are we supposed to be rooting for Steve Guttenberg? Because I think he's a bit of a dick.
right. So that's right. Two things. First one, I'll answer yours in a second. I just want to mention Ally Sheedy, Stephanie being. They find out that she was with the robot. All the press are all over her.
Mhm.
But then the press would usually stay there for a while, not leave within 15 minutes for
Oh, that she has like the most supposedly the most expensive, dangerous military robot ever created.
yeah.
Despite even if you remove the whole concept of him being like self-aware AI, if you're just like, all right, we're just going to take this as self-value, at face value, sorry. This is the most expensive and advanced piece of military equipment on the planet. It's ended up in this girl's house in the middle of Oregon, Astoria, Oregon, and they just like they come to the door and go, "Oh, so what about this robot? Ah, she's not talking. We'll just bounce." Really? That's the end of that?
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
that's absolutely insane. And go back to your question. To answer your question, what I think he's the. I don't want to say boy genius because I already said Matthew Broderick was too young, but I think he was the boy genius who was hired for robotic, and he became the guy that's because he designed all the. I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
know
yeah.
what they were. The Johnnies. He designed all the Johnnies.
Murder
Uh,
robots.
the murder robots, yeah, whose lasers are always armed. So he designed them,
Mhm.
but he also gets to do other things. So he just loves being in his lab. So he's getting paid. Apparently, he's well paid, but then still worried about getting fired. If he's that much of a genius, he should be sought after. He shouldn't worry about being fired because he can go, oh, I can go
There's
elsewhere.
no way. If he's creating the most advanced robotics in the world for the military, I mean, they would be doing and they make it clear at the start. When you think about this film, you think of number five or Johnny, whatever you want to call him, and go, oh, he's so charming and stuff. And we will get to him soon because he's really what sells the movie. But at the start, when you see the robots, they're blowing up tanks with lasers. You're just like, these fucking robots are for real. And that is how they're selling it. This is the future of warfare. And we're talking about a period now where it's the Cold War. So, they even mentioned in the film, oh, we'll have these robots marching up towards, towards, I was going to say Putin. He wasn't
What
there
was the
then.
operation name? Like I can't even remember. We'll drop these suckers in on a parachute. We'll sit behind enemy lines, and they'll
Operation
go right
Fuck
on Main.
Russia or something
Yeah, we'll go
ridiculous
right on
like
Main
that.
Street, and it was Operation. I wish I wrote it down because it was quite. It's like what the fuck?
But yeah, like he should be like the most important person in the room at any
Yeah.
given moment. That like he is the future of warfare as far as like robotics design, and it's all just so chilled out. And that comes back to your point from earlier. I just don't know how important anything is in this film, and I'm like, is this the main arm of the military? Is it an offshoot? I have no idea. And just as you think, oh, am I
I don't
supposed to be
even know if they're
taking
the
this serious?
military.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, do you know?
It's
And
weird.
let's get into Johnny as well before we go into the whole sentience thing.
Mhm.
It's good to know that when you get struck by lightning as a robot, and I guess you receive sentience, the lightning can also change your robotic facial features
Well,
because
it certainly makes your
jo-
eyebrows a lot more expressive. That's for
that's what I
sure.
mean. Johnny 1 to 4, they're
Mhm.
all fucking they're like sleek, like late, like beady eyed, and then you get Johnny 5, who is just I don't know, wide eyed, bushy tailed, fucking
Well, that's right. And again, it's an 80s trope for sure. But again, you've got one of the most expensive robots, as we're led to believe, of all time. Certainly, one of the most important
yeah.
military
I can't
kind
remember the
of.
amount, but they said it was a couple of million each.
Yeah, yeah. So we're
Yeah.
talking like serious military hardware here, and it gets hit by lightning. The whole thing freaks out. There are no additional diagnostics. They just like, it's fine. Just send it back in with the lads. It immediately starts walking. And nobody's going with them. There's no chaperone, so he can just wander the fuck off. And then, like you say, suddenly he becomes sentient. And weirdly, the first thing he does when he becomes sentient is start chasing Robot Tail. Like that was,
Yeah.
I was like, is this a sex joke? Where the plug is hanging out at the backside of the female robot, and I was just like, I think this is a really bad sex joke. But this film is full of them. So
Do you know what should have led you to believe that there was an issue with the robot straight away?
what's that?
When apparently he can reply back on your computer, but all the font is different. Like, how can he change the font on your computer?
Well, the answer to so many of the questions in this film is 80s computer shit. So I love nothing more than going back to these movies. And a movie we mentioned earlier, War Games, I think of something like Weird Science, where they try and sell you on the idea of computer stuff is happening. And you have to remember at this time, nobody had a computer. Nobody had a computer. So they had to not only go, oh, well, something's happening on a computer, they had to sell you on the concept of how it worked on a conceptual level. So it would always come down to like a visual interpretation rather than someone just tapping a keyboard. And this went back like right through into the 90s. You think of again, we mentioned earlier, hackers, Johnny Mnemonic, the net. They would always have these visual representations of computers. And in the 90s it became a little bit more advanced. In the 80s, it's basically springs and lights and absolute nonsense. And I absolutely adore it. It's incredibly charming. Does any of it make sense? Not a fucking lick, but it's very charming.
I just realized. I wonder where I knew him from. Do you know Duke, the second in command, Scrode is the second guy?
Oh yeah, I do. As soon as I saw him, Marvin J. McIntyre is Vice from Running Man.
Vice from Running Man.
Vice. Yeah.
It took me ages.
As soon as I saw him, I was just like, it was driving me crazy. It's just like, I fucking know that guy. And I when you're just like, I shouldn't have to Google this. I should let my brain figure it out.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not watching the film anymore. I'm just thinking about this dude and where he's from. So I looked up straight away, and of course he's Vice. And he was the Undertaker in Back to the Future 3 as well.
Do you know why we didn't know? Oh, he was the Undertaker in Back to the Future 3. Yeah. Do you know why we didn't know it was Weiss mind? It's a Superman effect.
Oh,
Weiss has Weiss with glasses, yeah.
And I don't know what it was. Maybe because he was standing next to Arnold Schwarzenegger in Running Man. He looked a lot bigger in this. He just looked really tall.
Yeah.
I always think of him as being like this skinny guy standing next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, but then you see him in this one, you're like, he wasn't that fucking skinny.
He was also a character called Farmer in Chud 2, Bud the Chud. So
again, how did I forget it? How did I forget Bud the Chud? Was it what Bud the Fud in Chud 2? That was a lot of
Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
Oh my god, that is just far too many words. But bringing it back to Johnny, and it is weird, like structurally. This movie, when I rewatch it, and I know you're not as warm on E.T. as I am, and just be clear, like we covered E.T. for the podcast, and both of us, like neither of us liked that film growing up, and I bizarrely fell in love with it upon the rewatch. You certainly had some nits to pick, certainly with the ending, but structurally, this is very similar to E.T. And it's one of those kind of many mid-range E.T. ripoffs. You had this, you had Mac and Me. There was, what was the one with the little ships? Batteries Not Included. They all fundamentally have a kind of similar-ish vibe. And this is, like, other than one scene towards the end of the film, when they go up onto the top of a hill and suddenly it all looks very Spielbergian. There's like a wide shot of a canvas. I was like, oh, that looks like it could be out of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And because it's clearly a set, it just has this weird Spielbergian vibe. But for the most part, this is relatively low key and low budget, with the exception of all the budget was basically put into Johnny Five. And thank God they did, because really that is the shining light. That is what makes this film stand out. That is what is memorable about this film. Structurally, the acting, everything else, this film is fine. I think it's perfectly decent. Johnny Five is properly iconic. Make no mistake. And wonderfully designed. Like, he was actually designed by Sid Mead, who you'd know from, like, he worked on Blade Runner, Aliens, and Tron. But it was fundamentally created and built by robotic supervisor Eric Allard, who the director John Badham said was basically the movie's MVP. Because not only did he create the robot, but he made him work on screen. Because obviously there's no CG, everything is practical here. And for the most part, other than a few bits, like when he gets into a car and you're just like, this doesn't make any sense. For the most part, he just works in the world, I think.
Yeah, the whole dancing thing, when he's being John Travolta, like the stop motion in that is absolutely fantastic. I think it looks great. It looks pretty seamless, to be fair.
It's a weird sequence, though, just to be clear.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's an almost... Did you almost think he might go the Ed the Duck route at one point?
Oh, no, I didn't think... I mean, like Vernon Wells, who had a vibrator hand in Inner Space. Do you think he had a vibrator attachment?
Well, honestly, at one point, when he drives the
Oh,
car,
did
there's
he
an
hit the car?
attachment comes out, and I was like, wait, what is on the gas pedal? He has what can only be described as an additional attachment. It's weird. I'm not going to say they were gonna fuck. I just thought it got oddly romantic between them a couple of
Give him
times.
another day, maybe. I'm also not letting you get away with the fact you called him Ed the Duck, by the way.
Oh, Ed the Duck, Howard the Duck. Jesus Christ, it's Ed the horse. The horse was Ed, wasn't it?
Of course.
There was like Ed the talking horse. That was like a thing from like the 60s in America, right? I'm not making that up.
Oh, no, no, no. I know the talking horse. Was his name Ed?
No, I don't know now. Well, dude, I'm fucking up all the names today. I'm fucking up all the names today.
And I'm
But
such
when
a
I was,
prick. I will not let you get away with it.
and rightly so, I need to be called out on this. But when I was watching it, I was like, beyond the weird sexual chemistry of the dance sequence, I was like, man, they're showing Saturday Night Fever, and I was like, that's a bizarre shout from like 19, consider this is a 1986 film. Is that film still, relevant? And I realized it's because John Badham directed it. He directed Saturday Night Fever, so I was like, oh, cool. It's a cool little nod to his own film, which I didn't realize in the moment when I was watching it. I just thought the whole sequence was kind of bizarre. Although, back to your point, on a technical level, very impressive.
Once again, as well, movie 80s logic,
Mm-hmm.
80s movie logic, should I say. Somebody who's meant to be hard up for money has the world's biggest fucking house on a hill with the best view I've ever seen.
Unbelievable. I know it's the 80s, and I know if people have that issue when you go back and watch The Simpsons now, because it was written in the late 80s, early 90s. It's like, he's got 3 kids, a wife who doesn't work, and he works a menial job at a power plant, and you see his house, and it's fucking ginormous. It's like, oh yeah, that's what it used to be like. If you had a job, you could just buy a big house in America.
Yeah.
This is a push, man, because as far as I can tell, she's got 7,000 pets to take care of. By the way, I've got 2 cats. They cost a fucking fortune. God help if she had to take that raccoon to the fucking vet. She has what? A snack van? That's her form of income. Her house is unbelievable. It's
It doesn't
unbelievable.
even see that she uses that van at all.
No.
Like I just think it's transport. It's good to know because you've mentioned the pets a few times. It's good to know she draws a line at snakes.
Well, you've got to draw it somewhere. And I'm sure you noticed, speaking of the house, that this film was shot and set in Astoria in Oregon, a la Goonies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's weird because I actually think it's shot in a similar way. Like, I'm not sure if you remember, like, looking back to Goonies, it's got a similar grey sky about it. Like, it's never sunny in the Boondocks, and it has the same vibe here. So I'm not sure if Astoria is just one of those like grey overcast places by the water. And there's actually a bunch of films that are set filmed there: Kindergarten Cop, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, and Free Willy 2. So big on the sequels. But yeah, her house now, that house with that view of the bridge would genuinely cost like $2 million.
Yeah. Speaking of, I know we've only mentioned Johnny quickly, so we can get back to him in a bit. But speaking of the house and the pets, like Frank is hardcore to just want to kidnap a dog and take it to a medical research lab, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, he's a
also,
psycho.
how did the three-legged dog get on the roof?
I have no idea. I have no idea. That's the problem with this film. I feel like my answer to most questions is I don't know. I just don't know.
Oh no, actually, that's my Rob take. Never mind.
Okay, save that for
I
later.
got really
Save that for
excited
later.
then, but I thought, no, that's my Rob take.
All right. Before we get back to the film, I just want to add, right, because despite my misgivings with this film, I do think number 5, Johnny 5, whatever you want to call him, is a genuine success. Of 80 cinema, of practical designs. The interesting thing is that the first time upon rewatching it, I was like, fuck me, he looks like Rob. I'm not sure. Do you remember Rob, the Nintendo? Okay,
Yeah.
like when the NES,
I mean,
the
at first I
Nintendo
thought you meant
Entertainment
me.
System, as it's called in America, or the NES, as we call it, or the NES, whatever you want to fucking call it. When it first came out, you could buy it with this robot, which basically did fuck all, but it looked awesome. And when you go back, I was just like, oh, well, he's clearly based on Johnny Five. Like, he looks just like him. Rob came out in 1985. This came out in 1986. So I'm thinking they may have stolen the design from Nintendo. You could get away with that in 1985. If they did that in 2026, Nintendo are so fucking litigious. If they brought out Rob in 2025 and Short Circuit came out in 2026 with Johnny Five looking like that, they would take the company to the fucking cleaners.
There would be an intellectual property like lawsuit going on.
100%. 100%. But you can say the same about Wally.
the narcissist in me. You're saying Rob all the time. I keep thinking you're talking about me. I wasn't released in
ROB.
1985. Yeah,
You're an 84 release, is that correct?
I'm 83.
83, sorry, my
Yeah,
apologies.
yeah.
So, right, I was looking at the list of the most kind of iconic robots in cinema history, and a lot of the list has Johnny Five, like right at the
Yeah.
top of the list. Like I saw like 3, 4, stuff like that. Most lists have R2D2 as number one. I think that's fair enough. Super iconic,
Mm.
great design. I know you're not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I don't think that's you know, a wild choice by any
Oh,
stretch of
I
the
mean, yeah.
imagination.
Well, to be fair, like I said, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I keep arguing with my kid because he keeps calling R2D2 BB-8. Fucking
No,
no.
no, no. BB-8's quite cute as well.
Yeah.
The Iron Giant is up there. The T-800, I'll have that. I'm not sure about RoboCop because isn't RoboCop a cyborg rather than a robot? I know he's called
Funny, isn't it?
RoboCop. I get it;
So,
it's in the thing. But
what is the? It's funny, isn't it? Because you can make an argument that it actually was because Murphy wasn't.
because he was still human, he just had robot bits.
But was he still human? Because all that was left of him really was his face. But did they put his face on top of a robot? I don't think it was ever established
Mm-hmm.
that like it could have been a robot, but they've kept the human face to have that.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
know.
see what you
Yeah,
mean. I see what you mean because they didn't really keep any parts. Like in the remake, you saw that bit where he actually had his like original hand and blah blah blah. But yeah, I guess he probably was a robot. I mean, let's take Doubt out the equation, just replace him with Ed 209. He's an
yeah.
absolutely awesome robot. I saw a lot of people, and this might make more sense to you. I've never seen this film, and I'd like to do it for the podcast. Jinx from Space Camp, same year as this, 1986.
Yeah, I've seen Space Camp. Yeah,
Is it any good?
I mean, if I've seen this 30 years ago, I saw Space Camp like at 35, like a
Oh, so
long
when you
time
were
ago.
really young, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
movie which absolutely passed me
It's
by.
it's one
Leah
of the
Thompson's in it, right?
Phoenixes. Yeah, and one of the Phoenixes, I think. Like as a real little kid, I think it's Joaquin.
I honestly, it was like I remember seeing like it was just on a list or in an article, and I saw them all. I was just like, I have no idea what this movie is. I can't remember seeing the VHS cover. I can't remember like coming across it. It's just kind of suddenly popped into existence as far as I was like 2020 or something. But anyway, Wally, which again, very, very at least partially based on Johnny Five, without
Yeah,
question. Machine Mensch from Metropolis. Machine and Mensch, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Metropolis, which is what C3PO is based on. This is one of my ones. I love Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim. I know it's
yeah.
more of a mech, but I just fucking love the design. I think it's so cool. And another one, and this is controversial. The film isn't very good. I think Chappie looks amazing.
Okay, I wonder because I pulled up a list as well. I wondered if you're going to say any of them. Yeah, Chappie's on the list I'm on as well. Chappie does look amazing. The film, I think the film would be a bit better if it didn't have D Antwerp in it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
D
yeah,
Antwerp can definitely get far. Or D Antwerp, kind of like Elton John in what was it? The second the British spy
yeah.
movie. You know
Yeah,
the one I'm talking about.
Kingsman.
Kingsman, yeah, yeah. He was in the sequel. And like if he had just been in it for like a scene, it might have been, oh, it's Elton John, this is quite funny. But he's just on screen for too long. And you're just like, well, he can't act, and this is terrible. Same with the Antwerp. It's like if they've been on screen for like a scene, you're like, oh, it's cool. It's South African. They're really famous over there. But there was just fucking too much from them. I'm like, they've got to go, guys. They've got to
There's
go.
some trivia about was it Chappie or was it another one? No, maybe I was wrong. I think I'm confusing it with what was the one where you had the another Neil Blomkamp one, but it was in space.
Oh, the one where they had to
Matt,
go to space
Matt
with Matt
Damon.
Damon.
Yeah,
Oh, not the Odyssey. Elysium.
begins Elysium.
Yeah.
What's his name was going to be in it? What is his name? Eminem. I
Oh, there we
can't
go. Cool.
remember if Eminem was asked to be
Mhm.
Charlton Copley's guy.
Joel Copley's great in that film.
Yeah.
He's great.
Or he was meant to be
Matt
in
Damon's.
Chappie. I can't remember which one it was going to be.
Chappie makes more sense.
Chappie makes more sense. But
sure.
if you can't get Eminem,
Mhm.
I mean, your second choice shouldn't be the Antwerp. I'm
No,
just saying.
there are a lot. I mean, his movies are already very South African,
Yeah.
and I don't think there's anything more South African than D Antwerp. It just the whole film just kind of pushed it over the edge. It's like when you feel someone who suddenly had like they've got too much control over their movies, and you're just like, oh, you just need to rein this motherfucker in a little bit. Because I really liked Neil Blomkamp for a while, and then it just kind of slowly went off the rails. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
The
But
other
right, go for
three
it.
that I have on my list, you didn't mention or probably
Mhm.
weren't on your list. Robbie the robot from Forbidden Planet. You know, the
Oh
big
yeah, yeah,
bulb
yeah, yeah,
head,
yeah. Super
uh,
iconic.
yeah, the weird
You can see all his
forearms.
gears and stuff, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's got like a dome shape on top, kind of thing.
This is where I think my list goes a bit off the rails. Gigolo Joe from AI, Artificial Intelligence.
Oh, played by
Jude Law.
Jude Law, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't think he's great. I mean, AI is a weird film. I quite
yeah,
like AI, but you know when those films that you kind of like I appreciate more than I enjoy. Like I think it's a swing. I think it's really interesting the whole Kubrick Spielberg crossover thing. I think visually it's unbelievable. I think you get an amazing lead performance from Haley Joel Osment, but I never quite loved the film, and the ending is very Spielberg. There's no way
yeah.
Kubrick wrote that ending. There's no
No.
fucking way Kubrick wrote that ending.
And finally, on my list, the Sentinels from The Matrix. Pretty iconic.
Pretty iconic, but kind of forgettable. To me, they just feel a bit too video gamey bad guy.
Yeah, I
There's not
suppose.
enough character to him. Whereas I think Johnny Five, because and that is the great thing about him. Beyond, it's not just the visuals, it's the voice, which is a weird accent. It kind of tiptoes around Indian occasionally too. But he's so expressive. He so certainly was unique, I guess, back in 1986, if you ignore ROB, as we said earlier. But yeah, I think it is those kind of memorable characters where you can kind of they somehow instill them with so much more character despite the limitations of the technology. And that's why probably R2D2 is number one. Because he can do so little. And it's just bleeps and blops, and somehow he's got so much character, which I
Yeah.
think makes him amazing. But I would put him on the list. I wouldn't put him top of the list, but I think he probably belongs in top five movie robots. I don't think that's outrageous.
Speaking of Johnny Five, do you know the best thing that they did for those robots? The best thing they came up with? It wasn't the laser, it wasn't the weird Swiss Army penis thing that can drive a car.
I almost said Swiss Army cock. I
Yeah.
apologize. I just yeah.
No, no, don't apologize because I did it. But it was definitely making them modular. Like Johnny Five gets shut off, but because he's alive, not all the way. He can still, I guess, move his eyebrows. So that's fine. He can
Yeah.
grab a wrench, he can set himself on again. But then he's able to just take his arm off and put his other arm back and create another version. Like they're just fucking modular, these robots.
Which is cool, and it allows for what you get at the end. It's like, oh, he can get you. Like the scene when, as you say, when what are they called? Neon, not Neon, the military company. When they show up with their assault rifles, I know it's not called Neon, and they just start. Are you okay? You've totally frozen.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, I
Oh,
was
it's
just
cool.
listening.
Sorry,
I
you're
was
frozen.
listening intently to you.
Oh, apologies. When they show up with all their assault rifles, it isn't quite as bad because it's in broad daylight. It reminded me of RoboCop. You know the scene in RoboCop when they decide, are they going to show up and they're going to take him out of service, and they all
Yeah.
shoot the shit out of him, and Lois comes and saves him in the car. It's kind of like that. So even though it's quite charming, like you say, he's modular, he can change his arms, it also means he can kind of get blown up and he gets shot a whole bunch. Considering this is a kid's film, he gets shot with the assault rifles loads, just
Yeah.
loads.
Yeah.
And at the end of the film, you think that attack helicopter is going after Johnny Five. At that point, you're just like, oh, okay, the attack helicopter is chasing him. They just blow him the fuck up. And I was just like, I couldn't remember how that resolved itself. I was like, I know there's a sequel. I was like, did they put him back together? Did they get his memory? Did they just actually blow him up? Obviously, they didn't. But it's cool, like you say, the modular aspect of it allows for some creative set pieces.
Yeah. That's what I mean. You can be creative with that. You can be creative with the whole film about like a robot coming to life and having fun. He can
Mhm.
drive a car. He can do all this. But you can't explain how you've been tracking this robot for so long, but you can't find him for the film. But the one time you shouldn't be able to track him, you're able to pull the entire army up to like, I don't know, the fucking deserts and find him. Like, how did they find him at the end? She's got her food truck that
I
doesn't have a
don't know.
tracker.
Yeah, yeah. He threw the
How the
track out the window.
Yeah, into the old guy's car. How in the fuck did they
Did
find
they?
him?
Oh, well, they found Newton at the end, didn't they? Because Schroeder followed Newton into. So he was in the bar with
Yeah, but that's because they knew they
Stephanie.
were meeting up anyway. Because
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah, yeah.
contacted. Nova, probably
Yeah.
got through to the big boss again to say, look, I'll
Yeah.
meet him
Yeah.
here because this is where my ex Frank used to go to. But as I'm thinking about it now, though, he was able to create a version of himself
Mhm.
because Newton's truck, because he kidnapped Newton in his
Yeah,
own
because
truck.
basically, because he was in the back, the truck
So
had all the spare
did they
parts.
track
So
the
he
truck then? Okay.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it. But the whole second, like, I mentioned earlier, I've got these issues with, Guttenberg and Ali Sheedy. It's like part of it is like the whole film is kind of predicated on this idea that they're supposed to be romantically linked. You get one sequence with them really early in the film, and then no interactions for the whole film,
Yeah.
and then suddenly they try and force feed you a relationship. I checked the timer when they go into that bar together, and suddenly like, oh, are they going to become a thing? It's over an hour into the film, and this is really their first genuine interaction.
I think I agree with you on that one. Their relationship was forced. Like
So forced.
they went from I don't like you, Steve Guttenberg, to okay, now you know he's alive. I want to fuck you. Like no, too quick, way
And
too
so,
quick.
and again, the whole thing about them being miscast, and maybe it is the writing, but it's like he talks to her once, he gets back in the car with Ben, and he says, "Oh, I am sporting a tremendous Woody right now." I'm like,
I know.
wow, what?
Yeah,
And then he does this
no,
whole line,
it's
which
so
is
funny.
even
Like
worse, where he's like, "Oh, our hands came really close to touching." This idea that Steve Gutenberg, like, this is the first girl he's ever seen. I just, again, it's the whole idea. If he was younger, you could play this off. Gutenberg looks like a 35-year-old fucking man. And also, he looks like pretty handsome Steve Gutenberg. I'm just not having it. And
what?
even just seeing them, like you're being sold on this, like, oh, they should be in a relationship. I can't get over the fact that because their hair is the fucking same, they just look like brother and sister. It's
You
creepy.
did it again. You did,
Sorry.
stop talking.
Sorry, buddy.
what what porn is Ben watching? Right to get a
Mhm.
Woody from him saying we touched hands.
I
Like
know.
I don't understand what porn he's watching. It's like 1920s. Oh, she showed a bit of ankle. Like fuck, you know.
The thing is, somehow, because he keeps getting these words wrong, the fish out of water thing, he can almost put it off this idea that, oh, he's like this nerd who's like, just lives in the office and stuff like that. I just don't buy it with Gutenberg at all. So when he comes in and plays this like naive kind of like character, I'm just like, nope, not fucking having it at all.
I
I
love
know
like
I've got to be in my
no
bonnet
no no
about
no.
Steve
It's
Gutenberg.
fine because I do it with characters as well, and I totally agree with. But I can, and probably I'm in your shoes at the moment because I can't see your hatred for him. I honestly can't. I think he's fine in this film. I honestly
I
can't see
think he's,
past it.
like I said, I like Gutenberg. I think like genuinely, I can't remember the last time I watched a film where within 2 minutes I was just like, oh man, he's so miscast, so miscast. And maybe because I made my mind up so early, the rest of the movies bothered me. So, it happens every so often. We get a bee in a bonnet. Maybe it's a hill that, I'm standing on my own. I just never bought into Steve Gutenberg in this film at all. But then, like you said, I still can't decide if I bought into Ally Sheedy because the character is so weird. It's like, you forget, like, they had the sequence with her and Johnny where they're doing the dancing sequence. Then she comes downstairs. Johnny is, and we keep calling him Johnny. In the film, he's referred to as number five. He's making breakfast. He's basically burning the house down. He's cooking the open box, sorry, the box of food rather than the stuff that's in it. There's just shit everywhere. She comes down and actually acts quite happy. Her reaction just doesn't make any sense. She looks and goes, "Oh, you're making breakfast." I'm like, "What the fuck are you looking at, bitch?" It's honestly, this film
Also,
is
the breakfast he
cringe.
serves her then looks pristine. The hash browns
Yeah,
are out
I
of the
don't know how it works
box.
out.
The
Yeah,
pancakes are fine. The orange juice is freshly squeezed. It's absolutely nuts.
but then
But
it's sorry, go for it.
I just say, I mean, changing, like I said, because you said about Ali Sheedy and Steve Guttenberg, my bee in the bonnet again is Schroeder. The whole act of him is fucking
Mhm.
insane. It's like, I think what he's been, if they're the army, he's
Mhm.
been downgraded. Look, you're too much, mate. We're going to send you to Nova. You can run the army guys for them.
Basically, he's gone from ice to be like, guys, you got to stop killing people in Minneapolis. We'll put you down in Oregon. There's this whole
yeah.
robot thing going on, and he just can't chill out. He just cannot chill out.
And it's like, yeah, he's now running the National Reserve or whatever they're called in America, the Territorial Army we know him
Yeah,
as
yeah.
over here. And he's just gone insane. He's like, oh, I can finally see a bit of action. Like, hang on now, mate. But they're fucking hard on to kill something that people have said, dude, sentient.
Well, it's
Like,
weird because you get these moments throughout the film where it hints around these concepts of sentience, mortality, AI, the meaning of being alive. Like one of the reasons that Johnny is actually so endearing in this film, but it never lingers on any of them. So you could have had a really interesting story there, and you get like one line out of his character where he's just like, oh, if this thing's alive and this thing's like a threat, I've got three kids. I can't have this thing exist in this world. And then they just abandon that concept. The initial script, I think, was a lot deeper in terms of those kind of themes. And then they basically turned it into an 80s caper.
Yeah.
And there were just those little hints of the initial kind of, I'm not sure if it made it into the final script, but maybe the initial write-up where they had these themes in there. And his character probably made more sense if you were looking at these kind of themes of, oh, even if you did like, well, what does that mean for religion? If suddenly you've got a robot that is self-aware, this could be a very, very different movie if you went down this route. Obviously, they've decided completely against it, but they've kept his character in. And because he's still in there, you're just like, he's just a psycho who wants to blow up robots.
I love how you're giving Schroeder the benefit of the doubt. And you're going, well, the writing might have been this, but we talk about Steve Guttenberg. Fuck him. No.
There's no writing that Stephen Guttenberg. He's just miscast. That's it.
When Schroeder said about the three kids as well, and the line is completely different, and it's not in the same context. But as soon as I hear anyone go about, oh, I have this many kids, I always go back to Benny. Shit, man, I got five kids to feed.
Everyone who is 35 and older knows how many kids Benny has. You don't have to name the film. If I went up to like I have every confidence. If I went up to a 40-year-old man who just vaguely enjoyed movies, I was like, dude, how many kids has Benny got? Yeah, he's got 5 kids to feed, man. Everyone fucking knows that. Yeah. Speaking of which, being 40, I find we run across this every so often. So G.W. Bailey, who plays Scrooge in this film, I always just think of him as being an old man, yeah?
Yeah. He was the old angry man,
He is younger than both of us in this film.
Shut the fuck up.
Fucking dude, he's 42. He's 42 years old.
42, dude. I'm 42.
Okay, well, I'm older than him. He's the same age as you. I'm definitely older than him. And I look at that and I'm just like, man, that is what a 40-year-old looked like in 1986. It's absolutely insane. It's the whole, when people show you pictures of Mr. Miyagi versus Ralph Macchio at like 65, and you're just like, what the fuck happened?
For me, it's
one of the prime examples of this.
It's watching the guys play rugby in the 70s. They look like 45, 50-year-old men, and they were 25. Cigarettes hanging out of their mouths and everything. It's
just real men, men just going about it. Absolutely amazing.
I think we probably need to move on. Do we?
Yeah, well, I think we've kind of somehow covered the whole film. We've kind of, as always, jumped from the back to the middle, to the back, to the front, all that jazz. I just do want to mention the next movie, because I was watching this on Amazon Prime. For those interested who perhaps are just listening to this based on the memories of this film, if you do want to rewatch it, it is on Amazon Prime. And if you just let the movie run out, it immediately starts playing the next movie. It went straight into Labyrinth, which I watched in the cinema literally a week ago. And I just started watching it again. I was like, fuck, Labyrinth is a good film. So, yeah, if you can take anything else from this podcast, it's that Labyrinth is definitely a better movie than Short Circuit, that's for sure. Should we go over to Rob's take? So this is where you pick out something innocuous that drove you crazy, sir.
Yes. If you are worried about your partner, if you're upset that he's going to keep coming round, he comes round when you're not there to kidnap your dogs. Apparently he's a prick. You've helped him buy his car. You've bought his car for him.
His awesome Pontiac Firebird. It is awesome. Yeah.
Maybe don't keep your spare key in the same place that you had it when he... When you were with him, like fucking move it, even move it to the other side of the door. I don't know, just fucking like the shitty grin on his face when he's like, I know where the spare key is. Move your spare.
But also, are you that surprised? Because you've got to think about who's leaving that key there. Stephanie
scatterbrained
is out of her fucking. She's not just scatterbrained. She is a fucking psycho. And that's one question we have to ask. So at the end of this film, they're in the truck together. And he's like, oh, I've got like a farm up in Minnesota or whatever it is. I've got a bit of land. We can go up there. She immediately like, oh, well, I'll go with you. And they've had a kiss. And he's all into it. Oh, can I bring my pets? When he goes to her house, that house obviously has to be the next stop before they head up to Minnesota. They have to go to a house. And he sees 72 pets. Do you think he just bounces? Do you think he's just like, fuck this, man. I cannot be getting involved in this.
I mean, you could probably tell yourself he does. But then in Short Circuit 2, they like kind of sign him out, don't he? He gets mailed to New York with a letter from both of them.
Oh, so they stay together in the movie.
Yeah. I think he hasn't seen a woman in 15 years or whatever it was. So the first bit of pussy he got, he was like, I'll deal with the 72 animals, it's fine.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, isn't it? You're supposed to believe that this guy is this naive virgin. And I'm just like, you mean 35-year-old Steve Guttenberg? I know I keep coming back to it, but it's bullshit. Sorry. So that was your Rob take, the
Yep.
key.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I totally buy into it because Stephanie's a fucking psycho.
What was your Rob take Steve Guttenberg?
Yeah, my Rob take was
Yeah.
absolutely Steve Guttenberg. Favorite scene?
For me, it was Johnny Five discovering he's alive. Like the
Mhm.
moment he, I guess we called him Johnny. I'm sticking with it. But the
Yeah.
moment he realizes he's not just a machine, that mix of comedy and the existential crisis. He frantically asking for input. It's just peak robot mania, and it's the
Mhm.
way it kind of sells his genuine emotion. Through a metal puppet with eyebrows, like you
No,
said,
no,
those eyebrows
they
are doing
do
the
great.
most emoting you can get. It was kind of the birth of cinema's most chaotic pacifist as well.
Yeah,
Like he's got a laser, but he doesn't want to kill anybody.
yeah, and it does kind of come up that that right and wrong and all those other things. It's like he has to tell Stephanie at one point, or oh no, you don't want to kill. Like he's the one who has the moral high ground kind of thing. And a big part of his character, the eyebrows play a massive role. Make no mistake. But Tim Blaney, who does the voice of Number Five, he is fantastic. Like he's it does sound like a computer, but he has that kind of childlike joy of like everything is the realization, everything is new and exciting, and it totally comes through in the character, despite the limited, kind of movements of the character beyond those fantastic eyebrows. I love the fact that the eyebrows they couldn't you're like, well, these can't get any better. They're so expressive. Oh no, they can be used to pick up like pens and wrenches and stuff
Yeah,
as well. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that is very cool. In terms of my favorite scene, it's probably the battle with Frank. I know you have your issue with them getting to the key, but when he breaks in, I just think the whole sequence is quite fun. When he kind of he comes back outside and he's kind of disassembled his entire Pontiac Firebird, and then
I thought that
it's
was
one of the
way too
aspects that
quick, even for a robot. I didn't like it.
it was very quick. I will
Yeah,
give you that, but I quite enjoyed after that where he starts doing the movie quotes, which they kind
yeah,
of they ripped off a little bit in Transformers with Bumblebee.
yeah.
It's a very similar thing. Like he picked it up all off TV. That was lifted directly from this film. Make no mistake. Like the idea that he's quoting like movies and adverts and stuff like that. I found that all very charming. And they kind of really captured that in his showdown with Frank, who just shows up with a fucking rifle, of course. So yeah, that's probably my favorite scene. Um, Oscar season. This is where we hand out 3 Oscars and 3 Razzies in categories of our choosing. Would you like to go first, sir?
Yeah, I can. So, the Oscar for the best robot with main character energy goes to number five.
Hmm.
He's curious, he's chaotic, he's aggressively adorable. He delivers jokes, philosophy, and slapstick with equal commitment. He's the most charismatic pile of circuits ever put on screen.
Fair play.
Number two, the Oscar for the best accidental creator of a sci-fi icon goes to Newton Crosby. He builds a military robot. He accidentally invents a sentient child. He immediately becomes the world's most stressed dad. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
it's true,
Yeah.
true.
And finally, the Oscar for the best 80s practical effects that shouldn't work but absolutely do. The puppeteers of this film. I mean,
Yeah.
Johnny Five does feel alive. His expressive eyes, his nimble hands, his weird little head tilts. It's proof that animatronics can carry a whole film.
Yeah, great camera work as well.
Yeah,
They just it's the whole thing we've said, and this is true of like CG as well as practical effects. It's knowing what to show and what not to show. If you can't make the shot work, don't show it. Just don't show it.
yeah.
Just cut away, kind of, give the suggestion of movements or whatever. In this film, you're never on Johnny Five or Number Five, whatever, for too long. Like you said, there are a few sequences, like we said, when he gets, they actually try and kind of amend it later on. When he gets back into the truck at the end of the film, you see he throws out the seat. You think,
Yeah.
oh, that kind of makes a little bit more sense. But for the
But he
most
did that
part,
in
they
every
always show just the right amount.
he did that in everyone he did. He did that when he
Oh, maybe he did with all of them.
yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough, fair enough. My
like
bad.
well, I remember seeing it twice at least. Do you
Oh,
think as
yeah, well,
well
that's all of them.
do you think he had more facial expressions than half of the human cast? Like his facial expressions were much better than half of that cast.
The cast is fun, but as I said, I have my issues. This
Yeah.
make no mistake, they knew like when they made this film, it's like the star of this film is Johnny Five. The budget's gone into Johnny Five. Like the opening credits, you see it right from the opening credits. It's all about the robot. They're like, this is the star. This is what's going to sell us. It's not going to be Steve Guttenberg. It's not going to be Ally Sheedy. It's not going to be fucking C.W. Bailey. It's going, or brown faced.
Yeah, Fisher Stevens. Do you remember? Do you remember when you said as well about the whole Johnny Five is alive thing we get from this film? I get from the sequel. Anytime anyone mentions Johnny Five or Short Circuit, I always think of the rap from the the car stereo thieves.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that? Los Lobos kick your ass. Los Lobos kick your face. Los Lobos kick you into outer space.
My God, it's amazing the useless shit we retain, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
every so often I'll just start quoting things from a movie, and Bethan will say, "Oh, what movie's that?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, I haven't seen it." She was like, "How the hell are you quoting it then?" And I was like, "I honestly, I have no idea." And then she asked me what my job is. I'm like, I can't really remember. And she's
No,
like, "Your
I
job?" No,
mean,
no, no clue.
we all talk about it like we just call you a transponster. Nobody knows what the
It's
fuck you
fine.
do.
It's fine. I'm just transponsor.
Yeah.
The Oscar for best car owned by the biggest dickhead goes to Frank and his Pontiac Firebird. I mean, it gets taken apart, but that car is absolutely
It
iconic.
is mint, yeah.
I just remember when I was in primary school, I've told the story before, but there was a dude, like one of the kids, he was a year younger than me, but his dad wore a cowboy hat and drove a Firebird, Pontiac Firebird. Sorry, I can't speak. But he was very much Welsh. And I was just like, that was just the coolest thing ever. So if you want to be, really memorable, just wear a cowboy hat and drive around the Pontiac Firebird. The Oscar for most likable use of brownface goes to Fisher Stevens as Ben. As you mentioned earlier, yes, we know brownface shouldn't be done, unacceptable in 2026. If you're willing to accept it was a different time and you go in and watch this film, you're like, Fisher Stevens is pretty fucking good. The Oscar for the audacity to give the exact same performance goes to C.W. Bailey as Schroeder as the exact same character as Thaddeus in Police Academy. It is note for note the same character. It's unbelievable.
Well, and it's the same character as the security guard in Mannequin. I'll just give you that as well.
And I'm pretty sure it's the same character he played in MASH as well. So yeah, he's got his shtick. He sticks to it. Fair
Was
enough.
he in MASH?
I'm sure he was in MASH.
In the TV show?
Or maybe the movie. I never watched it.
Yeah.
I thought he was in that. Maybe
He
we'll
wasn't
have to
in the
double check
TV
that.
show. I've watched MASH from start to finish about 5 times. I fucking love that show.
Maybe I'm making that up. If I am, I do apologize.
Well, I mean, you are looking for CW Bailey and it's GW, so I'll give you.
Oh, there we go. I don't think I've got a single name right on this podcast today. It's unbelievable. People listen to this. God, this guy's a fucking psycho.
And we just stopped
Bailey.
now. All we go. Oh fuck me! You're right. He was. Ah, of course. I'm a dickhead. He was Rizzo.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, he was Rizzo.
He wasn't. In fairness, Rizzo wasn't the exact same character. It wasn't quite the same character.
I've clearly just turned around and said, I've watched that 5 times. How the fuck was he? He was fucking Rizzo.
Yeah, so he wasn't it. So we're just having one of those podcasts. We can't seem to get anything right. Razzies.
Yeah. So number 1, the Razzie for the worst military security goes to Nova Laboratories. $1 billion robot escapes because of lightning. Nobody notices for hours. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. The Razzie for the most chaotic human robot friendship goes to Stephanie. Invites a tank capable robot into her home, teaches him TV culture, zero hesitation, just maximum vibes with that one. Just get him in. It's fine.
Well, she thinks it's an alien when she invites him in, and she's, if anything, just massively disappointed when she realizes it's a sentient robot.
And finally, the Razzie for the least effective villainy goes to the soldiers. They're outwitted by a robot who learns tactics from the Three Stooges. They're repeatedly defeated by slapstick, and they should be deeply ashamed.
That's weird that we've not really mentioned that. Like so many movies in the 80s, and of course, there's a big part of it is like the people who are making the movies in the 80s, they're obviously being influenced by what they grew up with. Yeah. And you keep seeing references to the Three Stooges. It's not exclusive to this film. Don't get me wrong. This film really leans into it. But you think of Lethal Weapon, a whole bunch of movies where there are clear references to these Three Stooges. It just doesn't have the same cultural impact in the UK. So it's like we see the Three Stooges, and I just know it as being these characters who are referenced in movies that I loved from the 80s. But it's, they even made a Three Stooges movie, didn't they? Not too long ago, the Farrelly brothers. But over here, that I think that went straight to DVD because it's just most people just don't have a connection to them.
Whenever the Three Stooges are mentioned for me as a child of the 80s, probably for you as well, you go straight to Mel Gibson doing it in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mel Gibson. I just don't, I just don't think many people in the UK have that connection to the Three Stooges. Laurel and Hardy is a different beast, but not the Three Stooges. The Razzie for worst miscasting goes to Steve Guttenberg as Newson. I don't need to go down that route again. The Razzie for biggest red flag ever goes to Stephanie's House. I'm just like, how guys are not going in there and going, oh my gosh, she's pretty cute, and being like, Nah, she's not that cute. Like, how hot do you have to be for someone to go into your house? You got 72 different pets, and you're just like, I'm gonna ride this out and see where it works, see if it works. I'm like, no way. Ally Sheedy's hot. She's not that hot. And
I
the
mean,
Razzie,
she must have a I don't know, like the best pussy ever or something like that because she is doing
I,
something to these guys.
she must have a magic pussy, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. In fairness, maybe I am underestimating just how horny guys get. Like, I'm thinking like if I was 21 years old and you get invited to, Ally Sheedy's house, and then you realize she's got like a raccoon, do you immediately bail, or you probably stay? I mean, I'm not sure you come back for a second date, but you stay the first night. Anyway, the Razzie for running one joke completely into the ground goes to Fisher Stevens and Ben's inability to get idioms right. I've never, in all my days, seen one joke get such a run out. They just keep going back to the
Yeah.
well. They were literally, it was like, all right, we're just going to get somebody to write every idiom you can think of. And what we're going to do is just have him force it into the film and get them all wrong. It's like, all right, so how many are we going to use in the film? All of them. We're going to use all of them. Any alternative titles to this film?
Yeah. Give me a second while I pull it up.
While you're putting it up, have you seen the poster for this film?
Yeah.
It's so much better than it has any right to be. It's, like in the same way that Cobra and Masters of the Universe have got like unbelievable posters, and then you watch the film and go, that film's not as good as the poster. This is another prime example.
Yeah.
The one of him with the lightning coming down, which another case of classic 80s lightning. Listen, I've done the research. I still don't know why 80s lighting just looks better. It just does. But that poster is so cool and so much better than the movie.
It's funny when you say, "Have I seen the poster?" I send you the posters.
Oh,
So,
fair enough. Well,
yeah.
no, you know what I mean. There are a bunch of different posters, but I think the first one was released. It's really artistic. It's like you can see him like on a hill, and there's this bolt of lightning going down towards number 5, and it just looks so awesome and so much better than this film does.
Right. A lot of these could be classed as translation issues. So
Here we go.
Let's see if you can guess which ones are translation issues. Belgium, Port Circuit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Brazil, The Incredible Robot.
No, that's their own take.
Czech Republic, number 5 is Alive.
Yeah, cool.
Denmark, number 5, Liver.
That's just okay.
Finland, The Robot Falls in Love.
Does he fall in love? See, that kind of leads into the whole Ally Sheedy, romantic relationship.
Greece are ending a story that nobody knows about, and the robots went crazy.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Serbia, Short Date.
Short Date.
Yeah,
that's got to be a translation issue.
Slovenia. Johnny Pet.
Yep, translation.
Taiwan, Thunderbolt 5.
Wait, is Johnny Pet? Because is that playing as the whole Ally Sheedy's got all those animals, and then she takes him?
I think you're thinking. I think you're grasping the straws. I think you're digging.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am. But there is a possibility there.
Sorry, did you hear Taiwan then? Thunderbolt 5.
Thunderbolt 5. That sounds like a TV show.
And Vietnam, Short Circuited Robot.
Yeah, it's like fair play. If you don't want to, they really don't want to bury the lead. We want to make sure everyone knows exactly what we're getting at here. Any facts for this film?
So the sound of number 5's laser firing is the same effect as the Ghostbusters proton packs powering up.
Awesome. I did think it sounded awesome, but I didn't kind of peg that it was the same as Ghostbusters.
3 interchangeable radio-controlled heads were built for number 5, so facial expressions could be properly articulated according to the scene. As per the movie's attempt to portray a living robot in the real world, every part of Johnny and his brethren was built to have a specific logical purpose behind them. This was originally a source of contention between director John Badham and the robot's designer Sid Mead, the latter of whom insisted on giving Johnny eyes to give the character a method of visually expressing emotion. As a result, Johnny's iconic eyelids were created with the explanation that they were sun guards and camera coverings.
That's pretty cool. I was definitely thinking camera coverings, that kind of vibe. So like you take those away, you lose the character 100%.
You would have lost money if you would have bid on Stephanie's house. The house used as Stephanie's house still exists and is located at, fuck me, they've actually given the address. I'm not going to do the address. In November of 2019, it sold for $340,000.
$240,000, fair play.
At the point when number five first hears the El DeBarge song "Who's Johnny" while driving the Nova van, the original choice of song for that section was the Dire Straits song "Money for Nothing." But unfortunately, getting the rights to use that song was deemed to be too costly. I like that
Yeah,
"Who's Johnny" song. Tell me
yeah.
who's Johnny, and I'm
And
totally
but
out you.
the thing is as well, like I thought it was deliberately picked because the whole name thing, because he
Yeah.
takes the name at the end. I assume is from the song, of course.
1.4 million of the film's $15 million budget was spent on the creation of number five alone.
Yep, wisely spent.
Many of the little tricks done by Johnny Five on screen, like flipping through book pages in the blink of an eye and tossing a washer into the air in a mimic of a scene from an old gangster movie, were done using relatively simple yet ingenious sleight of hand prop effects. For
Mhm.
instance, the pages were flipped using an air hose, while the washer was flipped using a piece of string at both ends.
It's weird
Not,
that for like the majority of the film, like you see that stuff and it's like it's seamless and it looks so good. And yet there's a sequence right at the start of the film when Newton is in his office and there's a hand playing the piano
yeah,
and you can just see the string. You can
yeah.
clearly see the string holding it up. I'm just like, oh God, is the rest of the film going to be like this? No, the rest of the film looks great. It's just this one piece of shit sequence at the start of the film.
And not only did this save money for the producers for the actual robot and the screenplay, but they proved to be remarkably effective in getting just the right look needed for the scenes.
Absolutely.
According to Fisher Stevens, the character Ben was originally intended to be Caucasian. The role was then rewritten to be more of a comedic ethnic part after Bronson Pinchot was in talks to play Ben. When the deal with Bronson fell through, Fisher was asked if he could make his accent more ethnic to make Ben's scripted lines funnier. Fisher spent 5 weeks living in India to prepare for the role. His
Get
performance
to
convinced many
fuck.
viewers his performance convinced many viewers that he was Indian, but Fisher stated that he would never be able to play that role today. No shit,
I
Sherlock.
told you though, see, like the
Yeah.
more you research, like Ben, like he knocked out the park as Ben. He's so good as Ben. It's morally wrong, but artistically impressive.
Yeah. In the scene in which Frank is chasing Johnny, Brian McNamara slipping over on the porch was a genuine mistake. If you look closely, you can see that Ally Sheedy is struggling not to laugh in the scene.
There are a few moments like that in the film. There's
Yeah.
one part. There's a soldier, and it's a really subtle scene where the head of the military, like, but the computer guy who, like, I don't know, I can't remember his name. He like has like a bit of a breakdown, and for some reason, I looked at the. I'm not sure if he was like a security guard or whatever. He was standing right behind him, but he just starts laughing. He's clearly laughing in response, but they just kept it in the film.
From the first movie to the second movie, Ben's last name changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he's not. Do they ever use his second name in the film? I know it's listed on IMDb, but I'm not sure if you ever hear anything other than Ben.
Ben Jabatuya. I don't remember him saying his second
No,
name,
me.
but now I want to know what he is in the show. Oh, Ben Javeri. So he goes from Ben
Strange.
Jabatuya to Ben Javeri in 2 years.
I'm sure there's a good reason for that.
Yeah. Uh, Mate, this fucking load, so I'm just gonna leave it there.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
How to future remake sequel, Let It Die or Leave Well Alone. Um, I don't want to say that because obviously there was a sequel. I don't think I need to see a remake of this, so I'm going to say Leave Well Alone. I Let It Die seems a little bit too harsh. I think just leave it be. It belongs in the 80s. I don't want to see a modern interpretation of this. So yeah, I enjoyed the rewatch. I wasn't like, oh my God, they should totally redo this for a modern, a new generation of moviegoers. No, no, no. Just leave it as is. And because of the practical effects, it still looks great. So no need.
We've seen this film. Like with this day and age now, if you did this film again, it'll be AI. AI is taking over. We've seen it. It was Megan, you know. So
And I tell you what, you're not getting Fisher Stevens as
yeah.
Ben. Such a shame.
So and
It's such a great time capsule. This such a great. This is, I would say, a great time capsule because, of course, you can be offended if you want to, but it's a charming performance. The jokes aren't at his expense. We know it wouldn't be made like this today. If you can take it on its own merits and watch it as like just go, well, it's just a film from 1986. It's an oddly charming performance.
It will always be a horror if you. Sorry, I'm still going to go on my thoughts.
Yeah, go for it. Go
Because
for
you
it.
just, it will always be a horror if you did it now. If AI takes over and you did the
Yeah,
robot
it
coming
would be.
alive, it'll be a horror. Like I said, they did it as Megan. I haven't seen
Yeah.
Megan 2. Not too sure I'm going to.
No, not
But
me. Megan
you,
one was fine, but it's another. There's so many you do with so many horror films. Like, oh, I really enjoyed that, and there's just like at no point did I think this needs a sequel. And I'm just
same
yeah,
with the one. I think it was Companion with Jack Quaid. She became sentient, and
yeah,
it
yeah,
was all
yeah.
about So that's basically what you're going to do.
No,
So
you are
no, I
right.
don't.
You are right.
I
It
don't
would.
need a sequel. I don't need a remake. I don't need a legacy sequel where we go back to the farm and all the animals are older. Don't need any of it. I
Mhm.
just, Yeah, just
Yeah,
not let
no,
it die. Just
just
leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
exactly. Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
way it's going to be the charming romp that this is. It's going to be,
yeah.
as I mentioned earlier, that maybe closer to the original script where they're talking about, sentience and self-awareness and the dangers of AI. I'm like, I don't want to see that. I just want to see Johnny Five just being a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
Make a change. Do I have to tell you what my change is going to be? So recast Newton, maybe Stephanie as well. I mentioned earlier, I think Matthew Broderick and Leah Thompson would make this a definitively better movie. Although, given Leah Thompson's track record around this time, she would definitely end up having sex with number five. Considering she wanted to fuck her son in Back to the Future and then wanted to and successfully had sex with an alien duck in Howard the Duck, you're like, is there any way she's not getting romantically involved with number five? This is no fucking way. So
Yeah,
it does complicate things by hiring Leah Thompson, as charming as she might be.
she's having little number fives if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
something weird's
Yeah.
going on there for sure.
For me, it'd be fix the ending. I mean, the film's Johnny Five survives twist is sweet, but it's very abrupt.
Mm.
We could have a slightly more earned emotional payoff. It would land a bit harder. If you're going to resurrect the robot, give us a minute to cry first. Let the characters sit in their grief before the reveal. I mean, go bolder. Explore the ethics of creating life accidentally. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you still keep the joy, but it just gives you more breathing room. I just think it was very abrupt. You got all this build
Yeah.
up to him being alive. Oh, wait, he's alive. Oh, wait, he's dead. Oh, wait, he's back again. It was a bit
Yeah,
of
I
a,
really thought they were gonna like have a moment where, as I said, they kind of take like the chip out or something and realize that they can save his sentience and put it
yeah,
into like you said, the fact that you can replace his arm stuff, that they can put him into another robot and save who he is. I thought it'd be something like that instead of he just like rather clumsily pops up the bottom of the truck in a way that, let's be clear, on a conceptual level, makes no sense.
yeah.
Like I don't quite know where he was. He just raises up out of the bottom of the truck. I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense, but we're just going to go with it. So yeah, I totally get that. In terms of video games, there was an Ocean published and developed game for the Amstrad, the C64, and the ZX Spectrum. It had that like. I'm not sure if you remember them. The two things I remember about all those games where they came in huge boxes, and I was
Yeah,
always so jealous
yeah.
of them because I was always a console kid. But the games always had these like, for lack of a better term, a frame around them. So, the menu would be on the screen with the game. Like half the screen would be what you're playing, and then the other half would be all like buttons and bits and bobs and shit. And of course, being a Spectrum game, this had the same thing. And I was like, was it a design choice or was it a memory limitation? I don't know. But if you go back and have a look, like it's a good looking game for the time. And I think it had pretty good reviews, but because it was, even though I did have a Commodore 64, I never played this on it, and I quickly moved on to NES, and there was never a home console, it was just home computers. But if I was, well, I guess the other question is you could turn him into like ROB, I suppose, or Rob, whatever the fuck he's called, the NES peripheral. If I was going to make a modern version of this, and I'm thinking I'm picking this just because I want to see a sequel to Portal 2. So if I could have Portal 3, only it somehow involves Johnny Five, I think that would be awesome by Valve. But I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think you're just talking to a person who'd really want to play Portal 3, basically.
It's Portal 2. You get sentient machines with big personalities. It's comedy plus existential dread. The humans who have no idea how to handle the AI. You got that tone that swings between silly and surprisingly emotional. I mean, I think Johnny Five and Wheatley would absolutely be chaotic best friends as well.
Well, that makes me feel better. I thought it was a bit of a stretch me going for that, but you've gone for the exact same game. So
Yeah.
we're in agreement. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you actually gave quite an eloquent reason for why that might be a good choice. So thank you. IMDb. So this is where we pick out one random 10-star and one random 1-star review. First, I usually guess how many written reviews are for this film.
So do you remember last week when there was like
Thousands.
1,600
Yeah,
reviews?
yeah.
Yeah. Think of
Not
that.
as many.
No,
Oh, they're loads.
no.
No, I was going to say.
I was trying to lead you the wrong way, but
I was going to say like 160 or something.
146.
Oh, that is pretty close. Of those 10-star reviews, I think a lot of people like this film a lot, but I think a 10-star review is a bit of a stretch. I'm going to go pretty low and say like 17.
I just lost that. Where did that go? 26.
Oh, okay, that's not too far. I'm happy with that.
Not too bad.
I was within 10.
So, titled A Wonderful Film. This is a great comedy and family film. Number 5 is a cute, friendly, and fun-filled robot. After he becomes struck by lightning and runs away from the Nova, he is at first just a curious wanderer until he runs into Stephanie's house. Stephanie is this young woman who loves animals and finds number 5 to be this innocent-looking robot who she takes into her house. Number 5 keeps saying malfunction. Need input. So Stephanie lets number five read all her encyclopedias, then lets him watch the TV all night. It's a synopsis again.
It's a
After
synopsis
all the
again, yeah.
initial fun and input, the chase begins when number five realizes that the people from Nova are after him and want to dismantle him because they think he's malfunctioning. No dismantle, no malfunction. Number five is alive. What number five says. And number five has to go through a number of obstacles to avoid being destroyed by these soldiers and the ruthless general who will do anything to permanently shut number five down. But number five is just too smart. He outsmarts military men in many ways,
I thought you
using
said
all
this was
these
a
tricks.
synopsis. I think this might just be the script at this
Yeah,
point.
using all these tricks he has up his sleeves or in his massive memory bank. So overall, if you have a heart, then number five is the perfect friend. He will truly capture your heart. Now, I will caveat, I have moaned about this in the past, about just reading synopsis. And again, a synopsis, or as you said, the whole script. But I will not change. I will not vet these before I read them.
No, 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 no. This is how you end up with them. You know, it'd
Yeah.
be too easy to kind of go, oh, I'll pick out one which is adequately written. I mean, it's quite fun when you randomly pick one and it's written by an absolute lunatic and you have to read it verbatim without any, kind of commas or full stops or anything like that. And I'm just like, well, Rob's having a heart attack on screen, but on screen, on microphone.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, usually the 10-star reviews or the 1-star reviews are either, like you say, they're either a synopsis of the film or it's absolute insanity. And we can only hope that we get insanity from the 1-star review. There can't be that many. I can't imagine that many people genuinely hating this film. I'm going to go lower. I'm looking for a hint. Is that correct? I'm going to go with 5.
Oh, you should have gone with your first choice because I heard the 4.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
still pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I think this is one of my better weeks in terms of guessing the numbers.
So I'm going to give you 2 today, right? One
Mhm.
short, because it's 2 different people watching this film for 2 different reasons, or
Okay.
not liking this film for 2 different reasons.
Mhm.
First one titled Short Circuit.
Mhm.
Easy to confuse the first with the second. If you haven't seen either in a while, the second is the more fun of the 2 and the one set in New York. The first is a totally boring one, half set in a military base with Steve Guttenberg and half set in Ally Sheedy's house. J5 is accidentally carted off from the base and winds up at Sheedy's home
J5.
searching for input, wherein he learns the meaning of disassemble and tries to hide from the military who are trying to destroy him for being a malfunctioning war weapon. Lots toing and froing, very repetitive and disappointingly dull. Again, they are not the military. I don't know what they are.
I can see why somebody would just casually say they are the military because they
Yeah.
have guns and stuff, but I'm still not quite sure what's going on.
No. I had to pick this one as well. I just saw the title, so again, I haven't vetted it. The notorious Fisher Stevens role.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yes, this is that film. Much like Breakfast at Tiffany's is ruined by a white actor playing a Japanese man badly and
It's not the
stereotypically.
same. It's not the same.
This is one very ruined film because of the jarring choice of who to play an Indian. White guy in a very poor, obvious brown face makeup and an awful,
It's not
awful
obvious.
attempt and an accent that's insulting. The difference, of course, is that Breakfast is an otherwise great film, a classic, well written and acted. Short Circuit is an awful, unfunny imitation of better films like E.T. It's aimed at little kids. Few people over age 10 will care for it at all. The jokes are predictable. You groan because you can see them coming, and even if you didn't, they're unfunny. It has some of the worst actors of that time. This is where you agree. Gutenberg is so bad there were jokes on the symptoms that his becoming famous just had to be from a conspiracy. Today, he's barely remembered for something equally awful. Police Academy. Ally Sheedy was the least talented one in the Breakfast Club, and that was it.
Oof.
And there's the robot. Cutesy, but not cute. Wisecracking, but not the least bit funny, unless you're too young to realize the jokes are recycled. The only good thing to come out of the film was Fisher Stevens having the decency to apologize for it. When was this written?
Recently, for sure.
2024.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And this is like, somebody going and going, oh, well, obviously I know Fisher Stevens is brown, so I'm going to tear this whole fucking film down. It's like, fucking take a breath. And just be clear, I don't, like, he's tearing Steve Guttenberg down. I mentioned earlier, I like Steve Guttenberg. I just think he's miscast in this film. But I'd be genuinely interested if people didn't know about it and it just came on TV, what percentage of people would be like, wait a minute, is that guy actually Indian? I genuinely think most people would just be like, yeah, he's Indian. They would just buy it. I honestly believe that. So yeah, a little bit harsh to say the least, which brings us to our own scores and recommendations. I don't want to give this a half score So I'm going to say, despite its issues, I'm going to give it a 3 because I do think it's very charming. I enjoyed watching it. It's only like a little over 90 minutes. It clips along, and Johnny Five absolutely makes the movie. As I said, I have loads of misgivings with it, but for the most part, I still enjoyed it. It's really watchable, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think I'm telling anyone you have to go out and watch, fucking Short Circuit in 2026. And even if you grew up with it, it's like I don't think it's aged horribly, but I don't think it's one of those films like last week, for instance, where and I know it's a very different film and it's held in much higher regard. But we watched The Usual Suspects, a film I remember really enjoying, and then you go back and go, no, this is every bit as good as it was back then. If anything, it might be even better going back and rewatching it now. Whereas this, you're just like, it's aged fine, it's fun. There are worse ways to spend 90 minutes, but I'm not recommending it.
Yeah, it's a 3 star for me, and no, I probably wouldn't recommend it either. It was interesting to watch, but again, haven't watched it for about 20, 30 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably not going to watch it again
No,
unless the kid wants
no.
to. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
it,
But you're
it
not
is
you're
what
not
it
going
is.
to
I
tell
mean,
your kid. It's not like that's a perfect example because you've got a kid who's what? How
six,
old's Riley now? 6. Oh,
six.
perfect. So you're going to be like picking out films over the next like decade, essentially, where you're like
Yeah,
drip feeding in movies. Is there going to be any point where you're like, oh, I think you should watch Short Circuit? Like
yeah.
if he wanted to watch Short Circuit, you wouldn't tell him no. But there are a lot of films on a list. I assume there's probably 300 movies before you get to Short Circuit.
Which pale kids before we get the Short Circuit.
Garbage Pail. I mean, in fairness, we got to Short Circuit on this podcast before we got to
Yeah.
the Garbage Pail Kids. We are going to have to just cover that one day, aren't we? We're just going to have to cover it.
As soon as I can get it to you, then yeah, we're
Yeah,
watching it.
we're
But
just going to have to
I keep
cover it.
looking. It's just not happening at the moment.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah.
Nobody wants us to cover the Garbage Pail Kids. I mean, have you checked YouTube? Because every so often we've had this issue in the past, and then when you check on YouTube, and it's just
Oh, the
the
full
whole
movie.
movie's just on there. Yeah, yeah. We'll check that out. So if we can find Garbage Pail Kids on YouTube, we will do it soon-ish. Which brings us actually to your choice for next week. What are we covering, sir?
Garbage Pail Kids. I just found it.
No,
No, I'm
of
joking.
course, yeah.
So the year is 1992. I will preface this. I'm not sure I've seen this film.
Okay, okay.
Now, I may have, but I may
You
have not.
treasure?
Yeah, there's things when I
1992.
looked at the trailer, there's
Mhm.
things I remember that, oh, actually, that looks familiar, but then also maybe not. So, yeah. 1992, starring, and this might throw you, or it might
Mhm.
actually give you the jolt you need. Uh, Brad Pitt
Brad Pitt. Oh, is
in
it
92.
with Gina Davis by any chance? Thelma and Louise.
No,
Oh
that
no,
wasn't
Thelma and
92, was
Louise
it?
was that? No, when was
That was
Thelma and
like,
Louise? Was that 89?
oh, that's a good show.
Thelma and Louise might be 89. 92 with Brad Pitt. Jesus Christ.
Thelma and Louise was 91, so this was the year before. This was the year after.
Okay, so I wasn't too far
Yeah,
off initially
yeah.
then. I feel a bit better about that.
Yeah.
So basically, he's just had his breakthrough role in Thelma and Louise. What does he do next in 1992?
And when did he play? When was True Romance? Because I thought that was one of his first ones. He just played a stoner on the thing. That was
Yeah,
93. So again, that
that was
was the year
93.
after again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we've already covered.
yeah,
That was one of the first ones I popped in my head. But I was like, dude, we've done True Romance.
yeah.
So what the hell's between those two? So I've got Thelma and Louise, I got True Romance, but I haven't got the correct answer, which was 1992. What was
Co-starring
it? Go for it.
Gabriel Byrne.
Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah, another Gabriel Byrne film for me. I must be like,
Why have we
I'm
got
going to choose
this
End of
weird
Days
Gabriel
next.
Byrne face? Yeah, yeah. Why is it
Yeah.
when we both think of Gabriel Byrne, we both think of End of Days? It's bizarre, right?
Because that's the most memorable one for us. And we can't do End of Days
Well,
without having
no,
Dave
no.
on the pod.
There's a Coen Brothers film which I beg to differ. But besides the point, I do have a soft spot for End of Days. I can't think of it. I can't think of it.
When we do End of Days, we'll have to have Dave on as well because Dave's a big fan of that as well.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, so Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger, 1992. No, I'm like Batman. Was he in Batman Returns? No, we've done that on the podcast. I think that was 1992, wasn't it? No.
No. I mean, I'll give you the director, but I don't think that's going to help.
Okay.
Ralph Bakshi.
No, that is definitely not helping.
No. Ralph Bakshi, who also directed the original Lord of the Rings, the 1978 one.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Let's
Yeah.
go back a bit. Frodo.
Okay. I may even say the title and you may not know it.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say we
Yeah.
might be in that kind of territory here.
Cool World?
No. I know Cool World. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely haven't seen Cool World. I can absolutely see the poster. I'm fully aware of it, but yeah, I'd totally forgotten that Cool World was a thing. Why the hell have you picked Cool World, by the way?
We were talking about Monkey Bone the other week.
Well, honestly, I just sorry you butted in, but I was going to say I was just like, I know it's not Monkey Bone because that came later, but for some Monkey Bone definitely pops into my head.
Yeah, we were talking about Monkey Bone. We've already done what was it? The good one, Roger Rabbit. We've
Yeah.
already done Roger Rabbit. And I own Cool, by the way. I own it on digital. I bought it because it was 3.99, but I never actually have gotten around to watching it. So I just
I
thought, oh,
mean,
this is a good excuse.
what do you right? If you're not looking at it already, what do you think the Rotten Tomato score is for this film?
It's not good.
What do you think it is?
I'm gonna say like 13%.
4%. That might be the lowest we've ever covered. That legitimately might be the lowest Rotten Tomato
What's
score.
the IMDb? Do you know I got the IMDb here. Do you know it?
Yeah, it's 4.9, which isn't
Yeah.
great.
No.
It's a little bit better.
I
I
never
assume
once said
I
this
mean,
film was good.
I mean, they've drawn. I assume that's Kim Basinger in animated form. They've drawn her very sexy. I mean, he looks so 90s. It's outwritten. It's the suit. It's
Yeah.
such a classically American 90s suit. There's actually not the traditional poster. There's a great alternative poster which we'll have to share on the website for this film, which makes it look like a great movie. Um, yeah, dude. Honestly, I'm jokes aside, I'm not against watching this.
Well,
However,
you've got no choice.
as I was saying this, do you know how long this fucking movie is?
Yes, an hour and 42.
Dude, it says here it's 2.5 hours.
What are you watching? I'm looking at a thing. It says hour and 42.
I'm looking on Google. It says Cool World 1992 comedy horror, which I'm like, I'm not sure about that. Is it a horror? And it's got it down as 2 hours 27 minutes. I was like, that can't be right.
No, hour and 42 according to IMDb.
Well, yeah,
It's got
this is Google doesn't often get that things that wrong. But
it's got one of the best taglines in the world, mate.
what's that?
With a pinch of salt. Well, Kim Basinger plays a character called Hollywood,
Hmm.
and the tagline is Hollywood if she could. I think she will.
Oh, it's not too bad. It's weird, right? If I type in the whole sentence into Google, cool world running time, it comes up with a picture of Brad Pitt, and in giant letters, it says 2 hours and 27 minutes. However, if you go on to look at Wikipedia, it says 101 minutes, which makes loads more sense. There's no way this movie is 2.5 hours long. There's no fucking way. It had a budget of 28 million and had a box office of 14.1. So yeah, it was a bit of a flop, but obviously was made on the the success of Roger Rabbit, but
Well, there you
no other
go.
film.
Amazon even says hour and 37. So we nobody's getting a fucking
Why has Google got it so wrong? Like I said, you expect it from Chat GTP, but like this is big front page stuff on Google. 2 hours 27. God knows where they're getting that from.
I'd love it if there was a director's cut out there of this. I
Oh
haven't
my
seen this
god.
film yet, but now I want to see the director's cut.
It's bizarre. I actually thought we might end up doing Osmosis Jones before we did this. I didn't think Cool World was on the cards, but hey, it's an excuse to watch it because I can tell you this: if it wasn't for this podcast, I would never end up watching Cool World.
Well,
But
the thing
give it
is,
a go.
because the whole brief of this podcast was films we grew up watching.
Mhm.
And as we've clearly identified, we grew up watching the same films, but also completely different films.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not just. I
No, no.
think
But what I'm
obviously
saying is, what I'm saying
yeah.
is, we grew up watching completely different films as well. Like I'll
Mhm.
do the B movie side of it. The reason why I picked this is because this should have been a film I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was going to say. It's not like obviously on this podcast initially, for the first 100, it was just movies we grew up with, but it has kind of like moved on now to movies where we're fully aware of them. Like cool, like for jokes aside, that's exactly what this film is. It's a film I was totally aware of as a kid. I remember the poster. I remember it being like a big deal, despite the fact that it flopped. And for some reason, I just never watched it.
Yeah.
And it does feel like a film. I'm almost surprised that I never got around to seeing it. So yeah, and it is one of the rare ones where neither of us have seen this film, or you might have seen it. We'll find out next week, I suppose. But
Yeah.
it is always interesting going back and watching these films with without the expectations or the nostalgia attached to it. Excuse me. But yeah, so that has been 19. God, 86 is Short Circuit. Please do join us next week for 1992's Cool World. Who would have thought it? Do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, actually, I do. Why? I think what we should do is
You said that with an
this.
attitude. Yeah, actually, I do. I
Actually,
fucking
fuck you.
do.
I
You
do.
prick.
My time to shine.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because obviously this was a flop, but it wasn't a flop as we discuss flops. So I think after this film,
Mhm.
whilst we're already in that headspace,
Yeah, yeah.
should we hit the flop season we've been talking about for a while?
Yeah. I think we've already discussed this. This movie, despite being a financial flop, isn't quite in that character. We're looking for like the big, famous, and I won't name the films. You'll get them in the next couple of weeks, but we'll start flop season the week after this. So I'll pick
Yeah.
up one of the 3 or 4 that we have
And
already
maybe we
lined
should
up.
think of a better name than flop season, because that just sounds like
Yeah,
yeah.
I just feel like the algorithm's just going to do us no favors. So we'll have to kind of really say box office flop season, because if you just have
Yeah.
flop season, you end up with Viagra. Anyway, moving on. Okay, I've been Liam, he's been Rob, and you've been listening to Hey Goes Podcast. Cheers, guys. Catch you out.
You say my name, and I always hold my hands up like I'm saying goodbye to people who can't fucking see me. Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s@gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. Get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Hey, you